We're moving right along with our afternoon session of interviews. I'm here with Laurel Harduar Morano, Associate Professor at Michigan State University. Welcome to the SciMike stage.
Thank you so much.
We're going to start with a question, maybe a little broad, but tell me a little bit about yourself.
About myself in general?
Or you can focus on your work especially too if you'd like.
Yes, so like I said, I'm an associate professor at Michigan State University. I'm in the Department of Medicine in the Division of Occupational Environmental Medicine. And I am a transplant to Michigan, and I've only been there about 3 years.
Wow.
So it's kind of cool. I grew up in Alaska, but it's nice to be back where there's winter again. I actually really like putting on winter clothes.
I wish I could. Actually, I can relate. I do love winter fashion personally. It's just when I walk outside and it's cold, I'm like, brr. So tell me a little bit about your session here at the annual meeting. Is that later today or is that tomorrow?
It is later today. It's at 4 o'clock.
Okay.
Before I go into my session, can I just tell you briefly what I do?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so then I can go into that. So I kind of do both. I'm an applied public health. I'm an epidemiologist, and I'm research faculty at the university. And so in addition to doing this work, I do occupational safety and health. And what we do is we track work-related injuries, illnesses, and fatalities across the state of Michigan. I'm one of 23 organizations in the country that do that, funded by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. And I just want to emphasize that because we protect workers. And one of the things that we do in applied public health is we really look at where those workers are located, where they're getting injured, where they're dying. We want everybody to go home safe with all of their body parts. So the work that I do allows us to track emerging and endemic issues in Michigan. So the session that we're doing today, I think is really cool because what it is we're talking about cumulative risk and cumulative risk assessment. Now, traditionally, we look at risk thinking about what an individual might be exposed to. Maybe a particular chemical like toluene. And we look to see, is that higher than a certain threshold where it might cause a health effect, that one thing. Or we might look at noise, and we do this kind of separately. But with cumulative risk assessment, we look at them together. So is the pathways that are occurring between toluene affecting the ears and noise and how that affects the ears. And together, both of them, maybe they, while they're alone, might not be above the limit, but together they're causing this super additive or synergistic effect that results in hearing loss. And so we're doing this at a community level. So Keeve Nachman is going to be speaking out at a community level and how that affects everybody. And then Ari Sakawa is going to be talking about this in the neighborhood as well, looking at lead. And then I'm talking about this among workers. And then how do we take all of those stressors? So we're looking at chemicals, we're looking at stress, we're looking at noise, we're looking at heat. How do we pull all of those together to give us a estimate of what that burden is and those adverse effects that might prevent people from living their best lives?
Right. And worker safety is obviously very important. My mom had a workplace accident before I was born.
Sorry.
And so I think it's super important. And I wanted to ask specifically what motivates you to do the work that you do. I mean, obviously worker safety, right? But are there any other aspects of it?
Well, you know, I'm a scientist as well, so I like data.
Data is fun.
I really do. I like taking the numbers. I like looking at them. I like processing them, analyzing them, doing some statistics, sitting there with R or SAS, and really diving into it. But at the same time, it's important for us to remember that these are people. These are people's lives. These are real individuals. And being able to take individual stories and pair them with the data so that we can prevent that from happening to others and improve our world and our community.
Data with stories. I think that's such a great way to put it. And you know, for anyone who may be aspiring to do similar work, do you have any advice on what paths they could take, or maybe like how maybe illuminate a little bit about your path to inspire students, since we have so many students attending this conference?
Yeah, I think my path is it's very roundabout. When I was in college, an undergraduate, back before all sorts of stuff, they had a job board, physical board where they had a little phone number on an advertisement, and I ripped that off and I called it. And I got a job at the Alaska Field Station for the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. And the first projects that I was working on was transportation fatalities and fatalities in the fishing industry, which was really cool. And then I moved to graduate work, and I started doing some global health things and got into biostatistics. And then I worked for a health department. And then I moved from that into various areas. I've worked for nonprofits. I've worked for the federal government. So I've had paths all over. So explore. Explore, take those classes, take that area that you may not know that you want to do.
Right.
And it might be something that you love, or it might just have to push you onto your next thing, and then you might pull in a little bit of that later on in the future.
It's mix and matching a little bit, right?
Yes.
And a similar story for me. I took a narrative for digital media class when I was studying atmospheric science, and that's what helped me decide that, oh, maybe science communication and like finding stories and sharing those stories is a great way to communicate. In all of your experience, has there been any skills that have been important to your success that people might not expect?
I mean, I think it's the flexibility. Being able to say, I'm going to try something new, or this didn't work, I am going to go do this, or even these are really long hours. I am going to finish this project and then I need to take a break. So able to have
I couldn't agree more. Pivoting a little bit, I've been asking interviewees because we're engrossed in science, but we're humans with dimensions, right? And so there are other aspects of our lives that we treasure. And so I've been asking folks, what are you reading right now?
So I brought 2 books.
Nice.
Because I'm reading both of them simultaneously, because you got to have your
In the same way. Mm-hmm.
So these ones are nonfiction, and I don't always do this. I do a lot of sci-fi, but the first one's called Autumn Song by Patrice Gopo, and these are really essays on absence and loss. And after this year, it's been hard, and so I really appreciate these short essays that she wrote, and then also about how our past affects where we are now and how that might look different in another few years. And then I'm reading Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall-Kilmer. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I hope so. But I really love this book because I like the fact that it's really connecting to the environment and how do we learn from the environment and how do we incorporate that into our work and giving me thoughts about how do I incorporate that into my work where I'm protecting or at least making visible workers.
My reading list is getting so long after this meeting. I just wanted to ask as the final question, do you have any final thoughts or anything that you would like to leave our listeners here in Phoenix or listening in online? Any thoughts?
So I guess the final thoughts is that I'm a public health professional. Public health is also a very important science. I look at workers and occupational health, and oftentimes we forget about that. We forget that the workers, because that's their job, and we expect everybody to just, do their job. That's part of our life. But the risk that they face, that workers face in every aspect of life, whether it's not being able to be safe in your environment due to a physical hazard, stress, fatigue, not having health benefits, not having a quality employment, all of that should not be taken for granted. We need to work to make sure everybody has high quality employment and can benefit from that.
I really appreciate you joining me on the SciMic stage today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really
I'm
appreciated
so
this
glad to be here.
conversation. Thank you.